2025 edge rusher George Okorie commits.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. On today's episode, we dive into some burning questions regarding the defense ahead of fall camp. Who are the emerging stars? Will it be Dontae Carter? We know about Langston Patterson. We know about CJ Taylor, but who are going to be the other stars? How will Dontae Carter contribute? How will the whole operation look? Will it be aggressive, or how are we going to be able to stop the run, get after the passer, all of that? But first, Vandy recruiting got a jolt of good news after having a couple of decommits. And it looks like they welcomed the commitment of edge player George Okorie, which is phenomenal news because this guy is a hidden gem, okay? This guy is what Vandy has been looking for as far as being able to bring in a guy that's going to get after the passer. Now, he can actually consider himself the new Nigerian Nightmare. And he's hit the summer circuit. He's been phenomenal with Brandon Collier and PPI recruits. He's been, the reps that I've seen on social media, he just has such an explosive burst off the ball. Great use of his hands. Good dip move. Really good body control. Just everything about how he gets off the line of scrimmage is going to be great. Probably one of the things he'll have to do this year as he develops is develop himself as a stopper in the run game. He's 6 foot, 225 pounds, very raw. He's only been playing football for less than a year. So really this summer camp experience has been probably the bulk of what his experience has been in the game of football. So he's still got a lot to learn as far as technique, fundamental, situation, things like that. But he will get a chance to showcase all that. I mean, who wouldn't want somebody that has a 41-inch vertical, 11-foot broad jump, a wingspan that measures nearly 7 feet, and runs the 40-yard dash in 4.58 seconds? Who wouldn't want all of that? I can certainly teach that, the game of football. I can promise you that. I wish I had a 41-inch vertical, 11-foot broad jump, and a wingspan that measures nearly 7 feet. I've got about half of that. So half of a 41-inch vertical, half of an 11-foot broad jump, a wingspan that's nearly 7 centimeters. Not really, but my wingspan is not even close to 7 feet. And I ran a 4.58, not in the 40-yard dash, but that was probably my 30-yard dash at my peak performance. Actually, I ran a 4.8 consistently in high school, so I wasn't that far behind. But 0.2 of a second is a huge amount of time. So, but this guy's explosive, man. And I'm excited that, Vanderbilt got this jolt of good news because this is on the heels of over the weekend, Vandy lost a commitment to, they lost an offensive lineman, Matthew Parker. He decided, and this was a big one, he decided he didn't want to come. So I think he's fielding other offers. I don't know if Vandy's completely off the table, but this at a major position of need. George Okorie brings that good news. So that brings Vandy's commitment back to 9 overall. He's the 6th defensive pledge for the Commodores. He's joining fellow edge guys Zion Lawson. So you got 2 really explosive guys, edge guys coming in. Josiah Broxton, a guy that runs really well as an inside linebacker, and DBs Caden Daniels, Venzel Hinton, and Carson Lawrence. So you got a pretty star-studded group of defense, and it's starting to become evident that Vandy is building their identity defensively, and Clark Lee is doing a heck of a job recruiting those guys on that side of the ball. Now the offense just needs to pick it up a little bit And they will. I think over time, this year is going to be this football season is going to be, very pivotal in being able to recruit some ballers on offense. But so the question is, with a guy like George Okorie, okay, with a guy that's as raw as he is, that's as skilled as he is, that has the vertical leap that he has, the running ability, what exactly do you do with him schematically? Because with his ability, I mean, he can do a lot of things. He can play to the field side, cover a lot of ground. He can stand off the ball, rush from distance. He can do a lot of different things. He brings a lot of versatility, but the problem is he doesn't know a lot. And if you don't know a lot, schematically or situationally, or if you don't know how to use your skills in certain aspects and certain things, of course, anyone can learn that stuff. So that's not anything that, is insurmountable, but it does lead to the question of, hey, you need to get this type of talent on the field because he can leap and bat down passes. He may be able to turn and run with tight ends. Like he may be able to be an outside linebacker, more of a field guy in space. Zion Lawson's the same way. So it's going to be kind of where Clark Lee decides he wants to, where he wants to put him and how he wants to utilize him. And I think this is where some creativity is going to come into hand. So and we'll talk about it here later with I Got 5 on it, because we're going to talk about the whole play calling operation and just kind of how the personnel matches up with that. But like you get some of these heavier running teams like LSU, when you're playing out the Alabamas of the world, who probably aren't going to run as much as they did last year with Kalen DeBoer's scheme, but Missouri's going to try to run the ball a little bit. Texas is going to want to try to run the ball a little bit. I mean, this league is still a physical run-first league. It's just not 3 yards in a cloud of dust like it used to be. But you need some guys that can cover space on the outside, because the emergence of outside zone being a lead run concept that everybody likes, thanks to Kyle Shanahan. Quarterback option, somebody that can kind of stay home and slow play the option and force the quarterback into a read that he doesn't want to have and then chase it down. Somebody that can cover a tight end in the flat, somebody that can get after the passer, and if he doesn't get home on his rush, he can leap up with his big 7-foot wingspan, a 41-inch vertical, and knock down the pass. Things like that. Just being an ultimate disruptor is something that I think Clark Lee can find a niche for him. I mean, he doesn't have to be a stalwart in the run game. I think he can find some bigger guys that can kind of bolster those edges. He can get some 5 techniques, some guys like Corday Sidnor out of the portal that coming from programs like Purdue and those type programs that are looking for something to prove in the best conference in the country. He can pull some of those guys, some of those bigger, like 6'4", 6'5", 260 pounders that can really kind of hold down an edge in the pass game, have enough juice as a pass rusher, but also has enough mass, for lack of better words, to be able to play against the run. And so, again, I'm excited about this because, anybody that's this explosive off the ball, I mean, it's not just that he runs a 4.5. When you watch his reps, you see his acceleration is elite, man. He's on you quick. He's got really good use of his hands. He's good about getting the lineman's hands off of him. I think the only thing that he would need to improve on, and this is something that they can drill out and work out, especially with this year before he gets on campus as well, but just kind of work on body level, pad level, things like that. I think sometimes being able to get underneath these guys at 6'3", you can use that to your advantage. But being able to dip and rip, get small and get around, because he has enough flexibility, he has enough explosiveness, he has enough speed and acceleration that if he's low, he can kind of shoot underneath that offensive lineman and almost essentially come through and come off the edge untouched. So big get for Vandy. This guy is a diamond in the rough because, I mean, obviously nobody knows about him. He comes over from Nigeria and he gets on this camp circuit and he hasn't really played the game of football like that. And so he's learning the game for the first time. And, he comes out and puts that out there and you're like, whoa, like if this guy is doing this without knowing anything or somebody teaching him on the fly, just wait till he actually understands it and then learns it and gets in a system that utilizes his speed. He gets in a strength and training program that feeds him, puts on good mass, maintains his speed and explosiveness, and increases his power. And so, when you have those combinations, this guy could be an absolutely lethal force on the defense and cause offensive coordinators around the league to lose sleep. He could be the next big disruptor as an edge guy, as kind of that hybrid edge position guy that's the outside linebacker that can cover a little bit, but is really just a pass rush specialist and things like that. And as his game develops, that'll be interesting to see. But heading into fall camp is literally, we're on the heels of it. We're closing in on it. And there's a lot of storylines. We talked a little bit about the offense. We did a little bit of film study, or as good of a one as I could. But we're going to talk about some defensive camp fall storylines and what's going to happen. Who are the emerging stars? That's the immediate question we have to answer. Who are the stars on defense under Clark Lea's tutelage? We'll talk about that next. All right, this episode is brought to you by Gametime. Did you know that Gametime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier? Prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So what you're going to do is you're going to get on this app, and you're going to see all these events that are in your area. You're going to find last-minute deals. You're going to save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. You'll have flash deals. You can save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of a game or event. So Gametime will feature a section. Zone deals, you save even more when you choose the section. So let's say you want to pick section 122. You pick the section. Gametime chooses seats. Oftentimes they'll give you a discount just for letting them do that. All-in pricing lets you show you the total up front. Seat views. This is my favorite feature. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. So what's that mean? Well, Gametime has the lowest ticket price guarantee, or if you find a ticket that's cheaper, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. That's pretty good. So your purchase is covered also with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So like if you get a cancellation or something like that, like what Morgan Wallen did where he had that sore throat and he had to cancel a show, Gametime would issue you a full refund, no questions asked, all that stuff. It's pretty good. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Are you watching ESPN or Fox Sports and you're tired of all that shouting because, your TV is just distracting you? Well, you need to make the switch to Locked On Sports today. And here's why. Because Locked On Sports Today is a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. So speaking of everydayers, thank you so much, everydayers, for making all this possible. Without you guys, this show wouldn't be as great as it was, and I wouldn't be as excited to do it. But I'm excited to bring you all the Vandy talk and get you guys jazzed up for this upcoming season, which I think is something to be excited about. I think there's a lot of things that Vandy has on the table here that are exciting. Offensively, there's a lot of storylines, but defensively, I think with Clark Lee calling it, there's going to be some dudes, right? There's going to be some things happening here with this defense that I think is going to be extremely exciting for this. So, so here's my advice. buckle up, because this defense is going to be a lot of fun to watch. It's going to be aggressive and all that stuff. Okay. But we have to look at this. Okay. Coming into the season. Okay. I got 5 on it. All right. So fall camp, defensive storylines, right? Who are the emerging stars? That's the first burning question, because we've heard all offseason about Langston Patterson. We've heard all offseason about CJ Taylor. They're going to be phenomenal players at safety and at linebacker and safety, respectively, right? They're going to be game-changing type players. CJ Taylor is going to be kind of that versatile guy that can play just about anywhere on the field. He's going to get after you. He's going to wreak havoc, all that good stuff. Langston Patterson is going to do the same. He's going to manage that defensive front. He's going to be balling out. But those two, I don't know if you know anything about football, but those two can't do it by themselves. It is a team sport, after all. So who's going to be the emerging stars? And the first guy, I think, is going to be CJ Taylor's backfield mate, which is D'Rickey Wright. D'Rickey Wright is somebody that kind of jumped off the scene, and he's actually pictured here. That's kind of a coincidence, but he burst onto the scene last year. There were several great interceptions that he made. There's one in particular in the opener against Hawaii, and I know it's hard to find a whole bunch of great moments from last season because there didn't seem like there were any, but there was one in particular in the Hawaii game where Hawaii's quarterback, they're driving, they throw a ball back up to the back pylon in one of those like one-on-one fade type situations. And, they obviously saw D'Rickey Wright covering this guy, and D'Rickey Wright's kind of a bigger guy. He's a couple biscuits shy of being a linebacker. And he's a big dude. He can move well, and obviously has great body control in the air. But they try to test him at the back pylon. He goes up and snags it for an interception. And so, like, it's plays like that to where you get excited about how somebody fits into a scheme. And he's somebody that, again, like CJ Taylor, they're two very similar type players where they're big enough to play down on the edges as linebackers. And they're fast enough and quick enough to be able to play back deep as safeties because they're two imposing figures back there. They can really kind of patrol that backfield and just kind of make sure nothing happens over the middle. I mean, a receiver catches one over the middle, he's got to pay a price. The toll is getting hit by Wright or getting hit by Taylor. And I think Wright provides a lot of that enforcer type stuff so CJ Taylor can just go do what he does best. Pick off passes, stop the run, all that good stuff. So they're both physical in their own right. Not to say CJ Taylor's not physical, but D'Rickey Wright is somebody also that I think is going to be fun to watch those two back there in the secondary. So I think D'Rickey Wright's your next emerging star. Prince Colley, who is Langston Patterson's linebacking mate. I think he was a transfer portal guy last year. Obviously, you didn't see a whole lot from him because, well, there wasn't a whole lot to see from anybody really because I don't think anybody knew what was going on. So he's going to be, I think, with Patterson and what Patterson's doing and what his role is, Prince Colley's going to be a beneficiary of it. He's going to make a lot of plays scraping over the top. You're going to see him running with the defensive line that's going to protect him by moving around. So I think you're going to see him. Really flash this year and really has a lot of potential there to make a lot of plays. And Corday Sidnor, watch out for him. All right, he's kind of that bigger edge guy. Sometimes if they go 4 down, he can be a 5 technique and really kind of be an edge guy, especially to the boundary where he can get after the passer. He can set an edge and kind of force the running back to kind of slow play an outside zone stretch play. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how he responds and see what he kind of brings to the table there. So I'm excited about those 3 guys. But Dontae Carter's another name. He's going to contribute at some point this fall. With D'Rickey Wright back in the mix, Randon Fontenette back in the mix, Marcus Hampton back in the mix out of the portal. How's freshman Dontae Carter going to contribute? Well, to me, Dontae Carter has been contributing in the spring. Dontae Carter is a guy that has really picked up the defense fast. And I've talked about him as being an important in the freshman class. He's going to be I say the most decorated freshman. He's going to be the freshman. He's going to be the top freshman in this class. He's going to be the top contributor this season out of all of these freshmen. I think he's going to have the chance to contribute the earliest and the most. And with his skills, his coverage skills, and his ability to cover a lot of ground, especially in center field, if they want to do some cover one stuff, it's going to be valuable because it's going to allow the defense to be a little more aggressive. Pass rushing wise, it's going to allow CJ Taylor and whoever else is in there to kind of play down closer to the line of scrimmage and either in coverage or in some sort of blitz package, whatever the case may be. His skills, his speed, his knowledge of kind of center field safety and just kind of how coverages operate, and he's picking up the system seemingly pretty quick. He's going to contribute early. I would say by the end of the first two games, Dontae Carter is going to be a regular rotational guy. You'll see him a lot. Number 21 on the jersey. So you'll see him contributing a ton on that defense. So, but cornerback is the position that's left in the secondary to kind of fend for itself with Marlon Jones being out. Who's going to emerge there? Who's going to be your corners when the season rolls around? Because there's some options there, but we'll talk about it next. All right, this episode is brought to you by Factor Meals. Warmer, sunnier days are calling. Not right now, obviously. Fuel up for them with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor Fresh's never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. So make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. What are you waiting for? With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Crush your wellness goal this upcoming fall with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. Make your day delicious from breakfast to dessert. Stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals with feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon, to name a few. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. There's no shopping, no prepping, no cooking, no cleaning up. They're ready in 2 minutes. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced. So head to factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50, that's 50, then use code LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code LockedOnCollege50 at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Also, passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts, that's a lot of parts. For your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, welcome back. Wrapping up the show here. I got 5 on it, so we got to catch up because we're only too deep. Thank you to the everydayers for making this your first listen every day. Locked On Vandy is an emerging show. Speaking of the word emerging, thank you for making us your first listen. Make sure you make Locked On SEC your second listen. We love it. All right, so Fall camp, emerging stars. Well, in the spirit of emerging stars, who's going to emerge as playmakers at the cornerback position? That is the golden question. Okay, who are the people that are going to step up? Okay, so Colby Taylor is a name. Martell Height is somebody. Trudell Berry, Tyson Russell, Taco Wright, Jalen Lackey. Jalen Lackey, the freshman. You also have Mark Davis as well, all conference from Southern Illinois. So you've got you've got a lot of options there, and I think with some of these names, it's a group that immediately became underrated or sleepers or whatever. It was one of the more talented groups on the team. And then, Marlon Jones' absence, hit the news that he was going to miss the season, quickly put a damper on that. But I think you have some guys out there that are truly capable. It's just hard to predict sometimes. Okay. But if you look at Martell Height, he's a name that stands out to me. And he was somebody that I was thinking was going to contribute pretty early on, because there was a clip of him on social media of him going up in a spring practice competition and snagging a ball out of the air, snagging an interception out of the air, just picked it clean. And it was a phenomenal play. And it's something that I think alerted everybody like, okay, well, maybe this guy's for real. All right. Colby Taylor. Hopefully he can perform against SEC type talent. He's certainly a bigger guy out there, 6'3", 6'4". You wonder about some of the elite guys in this conference, how his hips and his transfer from pedal to run is going to go. But he's certainly an imposing figure out there, and he looks to kind of emerge as one of the guys out there. If not, he'll be a slot corner for sure in some packages. Jalen Lackey is somebody that can. He's going to have to grow up quickly as a freshman. There's going to be some of these freshman guys that have to contribute. He was he's a guy coming in. Also, Alan Williamson, another freshman. He was Dontae Carter's teammate, so he probably knows a little bit about playing defensive football. So the cornerback position is going to be interesting. Those are a few names to keep your eye out on. But Martell Height, I think, could possibly be a household name, a name that you hear a ton at the cornerback position. All right, defensive line. I got 5 on it. All right, who's going to be the defensive lineman? All right, Corday Sidnor, Zaylen Wood should be some ends that the two transfer guys that you need to keep an eye on. Both guys pretty explosive, versatile type defensive lineman that can do a lot of different things. Darren Agu, Devin Lee, Otara, Miles Caper. They've got to come in and really kind of clamp down. Also, Aeneas DeCosmo is an edge guy that is looking to contribute in a big way, and so it's going to be situationally. I think you're going to see a lot of guys come out of this. So just kind of pay attention to the defensive line. That's going to be a position that you need to kind of watch out for and say, okay, this is really going to. This group, however it shakes out, with whatever names end up being the starters and whoever ends up being the main rotational guys, it's going to affect and impact how aggressive Clark Lee is in his play calling. If these guys aren't very good, you're probably going to see a little bit more conservative play calling. I don't know that he'll go full conservative, but he will certainly become more conservative and not take as many risks with those guys and get those guys out of position and ran up the field or pancaked or whatever. So just how these guys go will determine the aggressive nature that Clark Lee will make his call. So, that's just kind of, these guys are going to be called upon to make plays against the run because they got to win first down. They're going to be called on to make plays against the passer. They got to win third down. And of course, naturally, if you can win first down and third down, most of the time you'll win second down as well, and you'll get off the field. So these guys are going to be called upon a lot, especially these edge guys and these ends. I think with the emergence of outside zone, you're going to see schemes that try to clog the middle with the down guys and run the edges with the linebackers. You're starting to see a lot more of that with the prevalence of outside zone. You want You want faster, quicker guys on the edges there. So that's going to be that'll be something to monitor, and that's something that on the defensive side of the ball I'll be kind of looking at, and who's emerging as those top guys and what they're going to be able to do, and how they prep for Virginia Tech, who has a really good quarterback that can move, and 4 great receivers out there so they're going to have to kind of work on pass rush and how they're going to put pressure on the quarterback. So. But that's all we got for you today. We hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Fall camp is here. It's in the air. The season is rapidly approaching. That's exciting time. So we'll see you back here tomorrow on the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Good night. Anchor down.